George, we're live.
Thank you. Evening, everyone. Hope we're all doing well on this happy Monday. 24 hours before we find out who we've got in the next round of the FA Cup. I know who I want. We'll wait and see what happens with that. Let me introduce you to my guests. Andrew, how are you, mate? All good?
Happy. That's how I am. That'll do.
Right. Man of many words is our Andrew. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And Mel, how are you doing?
I'm all good, thank you.
You had quite a good weekend as well, didn't you?
Did indeed. My team have won in our quarterfinal games. We're through to the semi-finals, finding out this week who we get and where we're playing. So,
do you know potentially when that would be?
So the League Cup game would be on the 9th of March. And the final will be the finals on the 4th of May.
What does that mean for you in March? Could you make that, or?
I'm hoping to be back for that. That's my goal.
Cool.
So I'm back at the hospital this week, to find out about the knee brace. So I'm hoping they'll take off and I can get rid of it.
Fingers crossed. We need both of our Scottish sporting heroes back. So. Chantel, how are you doing?
Yeah, happy, positive. It was a big win across the whole weekend for me. So really happy.
Yeah, because the team is it coaching? They got through as well, didn't they?
Yeah, so I coach a under-11 girls team, and we're the only team in our area for like 20 miles that offers a girls youth academy. And my team has just won their semi-finals, and we're into the final for our cup trophy.
Excellent. This podcast is all about winning, guys. You'll get the thing. So, but then we'll go to Darren. How you doing, mate?
Thank you. You led into that quite nicely by saying this podcast is all about winning. I am Stina Ballerina happy.
Oh my gosh.
God. Yeah, moving on. Paul, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good. Just recovering after a 6-year-old's birthday party yesterday that I was left in charge of the music.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I managed to get the entire Arsenal playlist.
And that was an impressive cake as well, Paul.
Yeah, loving that cake, yeah.
Massive.
So, a couple of questions here. These are really important questions. One, what was the cake?
It was a lovely chocolate cake with a picture of the Emirates on top.
And I will say, fair play for getting when she's on the ball, she's fucking magical at a birthday party.
It was the radio edit, shall we say?
Oh, right. So it's a magical out of that. That's fine. Yeah. So yeah. And hi to everyone in the comments. I think we have Mel. Is it Dorian?
So far, just Dorian giving me abuse. Yes.
Just Dorian talking to himself. Right. Cool. Yeah. So I haven't forgot everyone, have I? Anyone?
Nope.
No. Right. So yeah, we'll briefly talk about Thursday, obviously, because we didn't talk about that. I don't really want to spend too much time on that because at the end of the day, like I've said, every team has their bad days. It doesn't mean that we need to get the team bus outside Meadow Park, put them all on and say, right, off you go, one-way ticket. So, but that talk we'll have in the summer because I think it's been spoken about a lot. But I'll start with you, Darren, actually. What was your thoughts? Obviously, I know straight after the game we were all disappointed, gutted because of the last second winner. But would you generally say what other people have said? We didn't really play that well in that game, so we was even lucky to be in that position.
Yes and no. I think the main topic of conversation, particularly on some of the WhatsApp groups that we all follow, and definitely from us in the stand, was why the hell is Russo on the wing?
Yeah,
she doesn't play very well in the wing at all. But then, of course, Steen was up front, so I don't think we played really, really bad. It wasn't a bad performance. It's just, I think on that night, we come across a very impressive and strong Manchester City team that got their tactics absolutely spot on. You know, they nullified almost every single thing that we tried to do. Our midfield was almost non-existent at times because Viv controlled it. You know, she had our midfielders in her back pocket for the majority of that game, unfortunately. So I don't want to be overly critical of the Arsenal ladies because, you know, we can't always win. You know, that's life, isn't it? You can't always be at your best. You can't always win. I think, yeah, I'll just sum it up by saying again, we come across a very, very good team that night that got their tactics against us spot on. And we didn't change our tactics from the Sunday prior. We went in the same attitude and it didn't work. Salavi.
Is that Spanish?
It is what it is, mate.
Oh, all right, cool. Thanks. Thought you was getting ready for Madrid then.
Oh yeah, just add injury to insult, mate. Thank you.
But Mel, did you watch the game?
On Sunday?
Thursday.
Yeah, we did the watch along.
Yeah, cool. What was your thoughts on? Because like I was saying that I felt like that we were giving Man City just far too much space with the ball, and just it didn't feel like we were like kind of closing them down. And I think that's what paid dividends in the end with the goals what Fowler scored.
Yeah, I think we gave them far too much time and far too much respect. I think on Sunday, so the game before, we saw that when we pressed them high and sort of pressed them on the edge of their own boxes when they started making mistakes. And then on Thursday, it seemed that we just decided that we weren't going to do that at all. And we just let Man City take the piss out of us. Nobody really wanted to press the ball. Nobody really wanted to close down or make any challenges. It was just sort of like, oh, well, we'll wait until they come to us. We weren't really causing any sort of pressure or hassle until Man City crossed the halfway line, which is just shooting yourself in the own foot, in my opinion.
Yeah, it just like I was listening to it on the headset, so and it just seemed like they had forever and ever with the ball, and it just didn't feel like we were closing them down. So I don't know if visually that's what was happening. Like it was like they had an age to take a shot. So that was a little bit frustrating for me. Andrew, I'll just finish with you quickly because, like I said, I don't really want to go over it too much. But it was disappointing, obviously, that we lost. We know that. But what was your thoughts like on the game on the whole? Was like realistically, we could have been out of sights in that first half, couldn't we?
Yeah, they played us off the park in the first half. I think you're right. Viv Miedemar, I think her name is. She's
don't start that, mate. We've been getting loads of abuse for that.
She was. I think there was one run where she almost went box to box. Actually, there's 2 or 3 times now I recall she went box to box. So we made some adjustments in the second half, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mary Fowler's penalty was a miss. I mean, fair play to it was DVD. Just they didn't blink. She just kind of stood her ground and Fowler mugged herself off with that. But yeah, I thought it was it felt almost inevitable that they were gonna score, even though they did leave it till late. And I've got to say, weirdly, I'm not that bothered. It feels like I think because we've had the Conti / Subway kind of for 2 years, it is the number 4 on your list, isn't it? If you think about it, whether you prioritise WSL, Champions League, and an FA Cup, and I think we need to start be thinking beyond that anyway. So I want a trip to Wembley at the very, very least this year. Yeah, we move on.
Yeah, it's funny you saying that because I have been saying previously that if it was a choice between a trip to Wembley or a trip to Pride Park, I know where I'd want to be going. And I just think with the Arsenal Women's Supporters Club, the red and white, and doing what we've done, I don't know. Maybe I don't think we've really done it at the level what we are now at Wembley. So like we've done amazing with the fan walks, with the sellouts and all that stuff. But I think the last time we was at Wembley was that we beat Chelsea, didn't we? I'm sure we did. Or not? Or was that Selhurst? I might be getting confused. Selhurst Park, but yeah. So we haven't been there recently, is what I mean. So
2016, isn't it? Since we last won the FA Cup.
Yeah. We played them in the FA. We played them in a final, didn't we?
Yeah,
we played them in the delayed final that was played in December.
Yeah.
Because it was delayed through COVID, wasn't it? We lost
and we got pumped.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It will be interesting to see the attendance at the Subway Cup now that we're not there.
I think it could be deep, like not as full as what we would have made it, obviously.
Nowhere near, I think.
But I think it might be right. Probably about 25. So
25 in total.
Yeah.
You can't count the players. You can't count the players. That's not right.
But yeah, it would be nice for us to be at Wembley. So
taking up a whole side, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, well, talking about Wembley, we'll move on to Sunday. Chantel, start with you. Obviously, I know you was at the game as well. What was your thoughts on the lineup when you saw it?
Yeah, I thought it was quite good. I mean, over these last couple of weeks with the mid games happening, you can start to see the fuel in the tank waver on some players. So I think going up against London City, it was a good choice to change a lot of the defence and have people that haven't been on this season as much to get some game time. I know someone that we know is kind of opposed of having Katie Reid, like it's forcing her to come on and that. But I think if we're not putting her out on loan, games like that is a great game for her to gain minutes and experience. Otherwise, we're doing an injustice to her as a club to keep her and not let her play. Because if someone gets injured, like we've seen Cody with her knee strapped up, we've seen like issues like a McCabe being sent off missing a game. If we don't have enough defenders and then Reed's got to come on to take that spot and she's not had any game time or experience, it's leaving us in a very, very dangerous position. So like Renee knows what she's doing, so we trust her, and I think like the lineup was like good, but it shows that obviously that's not our starting 11 because of how we started.
Yeah. Paul, obviously with the lineup, I'll be honest, it worries me when I don't see a midfield with Volti or Kim. It worries me how reliant that midfield seems to be. I don't know if you agree with that. Like, I'm not saying Kyra's rubbish. I really like Kyra, but I don't know. It just, you see a massive, and obviously I know because of them being quite like world-class players, but it just worries me the massive drop-off that some of our players have.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw the lineup, I was a bit sort of questioning who was going to play in which position, mainly across the midfield. But yeah, I totally agree with you, George. If they're without those experienced players on the pitch, I think we did lose something there in the midfield, and I think that's why she made the change at half time and brought Volti on just to sort of shore up the midfield a little bit, put that experience in there. Because also with no Leah Williamson at the back either, our experienced players were all sort of either on the bench or out injured, so that there wasn't really anyone other than Katie to sort of step up and take that role on.
Yeah, it just, and I know it's quite a loaded question because obviously if everyone's fit, you wouldn't have probably that midfield because obviously Vicky P would be in that midfield that we know. and if Kim I think obviously if Kim and Leah were both match fit, maybe one of them would have played with Kyra. But I think that kind of is where the issue is, isn't it, Darren? That when we look at other clubs like Manchester City and Chelsea, they have that big squad to be able to say one player drops out, to have someone who's not a million miles away from the player who they've come in for.
This is very true, and it's a very good point, actually. And we have a reasonably good and strong squad. But if you compare it to the Chelsea bench, for instance, that are all proven internationals and have got oozes of experience, maybe that's where we lack somewhat. I'm hoping that Vicky P is going to be back sooner rather than later. I don't know what the timelines are, but it's encouraging to see her on the training pictures that are posted onto the website. So we know she's out there.
Yeah.
But they've gone. I mean, if you think, and I'm not criticising Arsenal for this at all, but when Leah and Beth and even Viv all had their ACLs, it almost seems to be like every week we had updates. Unless I'm missing something, I've not seen anything about Palova at all for such a long time. Anyway, not criticism, just more of an observation on anything else. But I was interested to see them starting Jenna in midfield, and I know she can play midfield, but that's not what we signed her for, was it? Was it not to be a right back?
Left back.
Left back, excuse me, a left back, which is what, who said just now, the lineup confused them. They didn't know who was going to be in the midfield. I got it completely wrong. Maybe with Dorian or with Scott, I can't remember who I was talking to. We expected to see Jenna at left back and Katie McCabe in the midfield pushing up. So it was really surprising to see her in the midfield.
It was that momental, that conversation, Darren, because it was me you was talking to.
Oh, there you go. You got to remember, I'm getting on a bit now, George. I don't remember what I did this morning, let alone bloody yesterday.
But yeah, no.
But yes, you're right. We did have that conversation. So that was
we couldn't really work out whether Kate left back. I'm going to give it a go. If I murder it, I apologise. Nice Wonger.
Perfect.
And you will also recall, George, halfway through the first half, I said to one or two people that might have been listening, has anybody been following Jenna? What's she been playing like? And everybody said, not really noticed her, to be quite honest. I don't think she had much of an impact. Well, none of them did, let's face it, had much of an impact yesterday. But yeah, 45 minutes in really a non-productive game for most of our girls. We can't judge Jenna on that one performance thus far. She's obviously got something about her, otherwise Rennie wouldn't have gone after her, I guess. Time will tell on that one.
Yeah. I'll go to you, Mel. Obviously, Kadena got the goal for us, but which was it was a decent goal. But I think some people maybe not knowing a massive amount about London City went into it and thinking, we might come out of this like maybe a 4-5-0. But I don't know. I've watched a couple of games for them recently, and they don't look like a championship team to me. They look like definitely a WSL team that could compete with some of those teams. Like, not what I mean, they wouldn't be like how Bristol was.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually look at London City Lionesses, they're second in their league at the minute with a game in hand, and there's only a point between them and Birmingham. So there's every chance that we see them in the WSL next season. So I think it was a really bad case of everybody saw how we played against Bristol and they were like, we're going to run over London City. But if you also think about some of the signings that they've made, like, I don't know if she's still there, but they signed Aslani.
Yeah, she was there.
Yeah, she was.
Unbelievable Swedish player. So I think it was a really bad case of that we underestimated what it was going to be like. And that's why people are so disappointed with the result. I think as long as in cup competitions like that, as long as you come out with a win, it doesn't matter what the result is, as long as you win at the end of the day. But yeah, I think that's 100% why people are more disappointed by the outcome of yesterday than they would have been if we were playing a team like, I don't know, if we were playing like an Everton or somebody in the WSL. It would have been a more realistic expectation of, it's not going to be a bad one, but we should win. It's not going to be an easy game. But yeah.
No, I agree. Like they definitely seem like if you see them over the next 2-3 years with those group of players playing in the WSL, you could see them definitely competing. Say probably from say 5th or 6th going down, like around that. I wouldn't be surprised if they got some big results in the WSL. So, and like you said, Mel, we've got the results. That's kind of all that matters. I wasn't really impressed with the performance. Not gonna lie, but it is what it is. Andrew, I'd come to you again. Obviously, Taya Goldie played for London City Lionesses because obviously they let their loan players play against their other clubs. Not like some teams, no names, Man City. How do you think Goldie done? I thought she looked quite settled there, and I wouldn't be surprised if she made a permanent move there in the summer, to be honest.
Yeah, she was outstanding. I thought she, despite, as Mel said, Aslani was there, there was a lot of really good players on that pitch, but Taya Goldie was superb. I think one of the block that she threw early on, where she literally threw herself at the ball to block her as it Frida Mornham. But yeah, she was really skillful. And yeah, she's just she's developed as one of a really good centre back at the wrong time, wrong place with Arsenal at the moment. Joining out, she's probably 8th in line for on the centre back rotation now. So yeah, I think she will. I think I think she will be signing with them. That's the way it is. I think I agree with Mel. I think London City will, and I think they'll spend. It's Michelle Kang is their owner. She's kind of definitely got this model. She's not going to just be kind of fucking about like West Ham or kind of Crystal Palace. They're going to go for it. I think they'll be up there with, they're going to be trying to get into the top 4 fairly quickly, and I think they will come up this year actually. So I was really impressed with them. Interestingly though, Freya Godfrey wasn't allowed to play.
No.
And I agree with you. I think just let them play. If you got to back your player, you got to back your first team, but your own team. If you're frightened of a couple of your loanees suddenly kind of running over you, then you've probably loaned out the wrong players. I just
think it can't be one way or another. Like it's either you don't let the players who are out on loan play against you, or you do. Like like I can kind of understand it if I don't know, like with Chloe Kelly maybe, because she could score you a winner against Man City, but yeah, I don't know how to say it without sounding a bit more disrespectful, and I don't really want to come across like that, but I think if you've got like the youngsters, let them play as much as they can, because it's all it's to do is to improve their football development.
100%. And it's your best view of them as well going up again. That's the best team they're going to play this year, to be fair. You want to see them tested against at that top level. So yeah, it was a shame. I'd like to have seen Freya as well. If she'd have got a game, but 2-0 on, we move on, don't we?
Yeah. Paul, what's like your kind of views on with like we were just talking about the loan players? Do you think that it should be like they can play whoever they want against, or do you think it should be no, you can't play against your parent club?
It's a difficult one because you've always got that potential of conflict of interest, especially in the Chloe Kelly scenario. If she played against Man City and scored the winning goal for us, that could potentially knock Man City out of a European place come the end of the season, and she's got to go back there.
She's not going back there. She's not going back there anywhere but.
But I think it's different when it's academy players. They should be allowed to play against the parent club because they need to gain that experience. They need to be playing against the best teams.
So is this, obviously my ignorance, is this a WSL rule, or just Mel, because you'd probably know more than I would, like in the Scottish League, is it the same with the loans, or?
In the Scottish League, you don't really see a lot of players going between the top sort of division. It's more they get loaned out to like second and third division.
Yeah.
Mainly because the chances of them playing up against each other is very, very slim. I think the most recent I think that was Mia Macaulay was loaned out by Rangers and got recalled, but I don't think the team she was at were even anywhere near playing Rangers in the tournament. So I don't think that's been the case yet. But when it comes to that, I don't actually know if it would be the same. I don't know if it is in the men's team, like the men's leagues, because again, you don't really see a lot of players going between your top flight clubs. You sort of see players going on loan from like Kilmarnock and stuff to like your second division, like League Two and stuff like that. So usually up here, if they're going on loan, they're going to a club that's a good 2-3 divisions below them.
Yeah, I know it is in the Premier League. Like, obviously, if you loan someone like Sterling, wouldn't have been able to play for Chelsea. Didn't really want him playing for Arsenal either, to be honest. But yeah, it won't happen in the Scottish League, mate, because Celtic are massively better than Rangers, so they don't need rubbish players.
Exactly.
Just for like a minute silence for as well. We might do that later for Rangers after the weekend as well. So just for you teams. Yeah. So, and then obviously Chantel, they brought Rene brought on, was it Stina for Caitlin. Obviously, Caitlin looked to be carrying an injury still, which wasn't really what we want to be seeing. But how did you think Stina done playing on the wing instead of Russo?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit weird to see, because normally when we've done it in the past, Russo will go to the side and Stina will go up front. But I guess with a game like Spurs coming up, to keep Russo in that striker position to get her like shooting or scoring boots on would be good. But I don't think Stina played bad. Like, she's got that speed to run up and down that wing and help. Obviously, she got the rebound from Marnham's shot to tap it in. Well, not tap it in, but to get the second goal for us. And as a winger, that's what you kind of need. It's either you're carrying the ball down the wing, crossing it in, or if someone is taking that shot, you've got to be on that ball, and that's what Stina's really good at.
Yeah, right place, right time.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say hello to Scott as well, so he don't fall asleep this time. But before I've said hello to him, the hero of my life he was on Sunday. So because he bought an iPhone lead. Because my delightful girlfriend said, "Yeah, there's your lead." I looked at it, it was a run one.
Oops.
So yeah, we'll go to Darren. Obviously, Stina scored the second goal. Like you say, right place, right time. She seemed to offer quite a bit more of a threat, didn't she? Like being on the wing and cutting in. Would you say?
I mean, you're going to say I'm biased, of course, but I think Stina always offers the right solution. It's whether she's found by the players. She's always pointing where she wants the ball. Doesn't necessarily mean she's going to go there or is going to go there. But I think we're too harsh sometimes on good old Stina. And yes, you're right. She did score the second goal, right place, right time. But one must also remember that it was her challenge that made the ball go to Frida in the first instance. So she was doing the tracking back and all the hard work, as she always does. Yeah, I don't want to say too much about Stina. I don't want to get cancelled by you, George.
Yeah. I'm being professional today about Stina.
Then I'll carry on.
I said in the group, I'm going to behave.
I doubt very much we're going to see her start on Sunday. I doubt it very much.
No, she don't. No. For me, she don't start Sunday.
Also needs to be up in attack. She needs to find her scoring boots again because what's it now, guys? 4 games without a goal for Russo. She's gone off the boil a little bit, sadly. Not necessarily her fault. Pardon?
Is it 4?
3 or 4, isn't it? Or they've got that completely wrong. Dorian, the stats man, will probably tell us we've got it.
She didn't score
wrong.
against Manchester, and she didn't score against London. I can't even think what it feels like.
It's 3 or 4 games, I'm sure. But
What was that game before that?
Pat, she didn't
Bristol.
play against Bristol, did she?
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably just calendar-wise she hasn't scored a while. I think she'll be fine. She'll score against Tottenham. There you go, scored against Palace.
Scott, so
there you go, Scott. Cheers.
So yeah, I mean, I should be all right on Sunday. We got no reason to worry about Lucy's form. You know,
no,
it comes and goes. Form class is permanent, and she's got abundance of class in her. She's got more in her little finger than we've got in our whole body in some instances when it comes to football. So I'm sure she's going to come to our saviour. Not that we need a saviour on Sunday. We lose against Tottenham. We shouldn't be in this bloody game.
No.
What are you talking about? What
do you mean? What am I talking about? What are you
not against Tottenham?
Well, come on. We think about what happened last season. Not at the
that
Emirates,
was at Tottenham.
No,
you know, we absolutely
aberration. That was abomination.
But still couldn't put the ball in the net. The typical Arsenal thing. All the flair, pass it. Just couldn't put it. I hope we don't get one of those games Sunday that's just wholly frustrating. Just attack.
I'm going 5-0.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm quite confident, to be honest. So and I'll go to you, Paul. So yeah, like we said, Stina got the second goal. It was kind of the final nail in the coffin for London Lionesses, wasn't it? But I wouldn't be, if I was them. They can hold their head up high, can't they? Like, it wasn't.
Excuse me.
I don't think it was a battering, or it wasn't as easy as everyone thought it was going to be, was it?
Yeah, I mean, as we've said earlier, they're a good team. They're doing very well in the Championship. They held their own, and they will hold their own when they do get that promotion up to the WSL. Whether that's this season or in 1 year's time, it is coming. But yeah, that second goal by Stina, that was just the final bit for them. They just couldn't come back for that. At 1-0, I always felt that although we were controlling the game by that stage, there was always the chance that they could, get that sneaky goal, because we know what our defence can be like at times on there. But I've seen London City play. I've been to see them twice this season already, and right from the first game of the season, I thought these could be a mid-table WSL team.
Yeah,
really easily. I can't, with the current squad, I couldn't see them competing for the top 3. But get up there, they'll easily stay up there, and give it 2 or 3 years, and then they'll be knocking on the door.
I think you're right.
European places.
I hope they do stay up, because selfishly, it's a nice short trip for an away game, isn't it?
Yeah, they play at Bromley at the moment, and I went to see them there on their opening day against Newcastle, and they have got one of the best clubhouses that I've seen in the lower leagues.
Really?
That's all that matters then. No.
Yeah.
There can't be any, because there wasn't they at Dartford before?
Yes, we played them in the Conti Cup last season at Dartford.
Yeah, it was when me, Sam, and Sinead walked in on a wake in some really dodgy pub in. Yeah. Well, no, like we just said, I said, can I get a pint of Coke, please? And it was like, well, I could do that for you. And I thought, oh, there we go. This is a bit weird. And then he was like, there's we've got a wake expected like in the next 10 minutes round the corner, but you can sit here. And then when I went to go into the toilet, the lights went off, and then I basically had to do like a shoulder barge to get out of the disabled toilet. It was an event. And then they called the game off after that. So that was my funny story back then. So yeah. I think it's like as well what James has said. The thing with Russo is that her partnerships have been quite broken up recently, haven't they?
Yeah, she doesn't seem to have more than 2 games in a row where she's playing alongside the same player. And as a striker, as an attacking player, you sort of need to have that continuous of playing with players again and again and again, because then you get into sort of the rhythm of how each other works. Sorry, my dog just being an arsehole again. I've completely lost my train of thought now. Thank you so much for this.
The dog is in the doghouse.
Yeah, well and truly. If he would fit in after all the shortbread that he's eaten in the last 2 days. Yeah, like you need the more you play with a player, the more you understand how they play, and the more you sort of begin to sort of know that you can know what a player is without having to look for them. He's about to knock the light over now. It's all going wrong.
I can see the whole screen looking over. It's perilous. This tension is building up.
I don't even know what he's trying to do, but he's over there, so it's fine. Yeah, as a striker, you need to be on the same wavelength as the players that you're playing against. You need to know that they're going to find you or know where you're going to be. Jesus Christ! Without you having to shout for the ball or scream for the ball, whatever. You need to be on the same wavelength that if they've got their back to you, they know they can just hook it around the corner or chip it over the top, and you're going to be there. And I think at the minute, Russo's playing with so many different players every couple games that she's not had the chance to sort of have that connection with somebody. Because everybody that she's been up with has played very differently. Like Frida plays differently to how Stina plays, and Mariona plays differently to how they both play. And it's just, as a striker, when you have that one set way that you know you play and what works for you, to then have it chopping and changing every week as to who's going to be the feeder that's going to be playing balls into you, who's going to be sort of running along beside you and being your backup. What the fuck is going on?
Is he eating your microphone?
He's trying to get comfy, but he's currently in a shopping bag for life, so I don't know what's going on. But that's a problem for later.
I never realised this was a comedy show.
I mean, well, you make
little bag for life. That's what it is.
Mel makes a very good point about Russo not necessarily playing up front with the same person all the time. And you've all just seen James made a comment saying he says that every week should play Stina and Russo together, but always end up dropping one of them. I think we've had a few games, haven't we, chaps, where both of them have played up front. And I'd be the biggest advocate to say do it and do it again and again. But does it actually work? I'm not sure.
No, I'll ask you that. That is a good point, Darren, what I was going to come to. So mainly, I think we play 4-3-3, we would say, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
So I'll go round. Forget about injuries and all that. Your front three, Andrew, who would it be?
Oh, front three. Oh, crikey, that's a difficult one. Everyone's fully fit.
Yeah.
Caldenti on the left. Caitlin on the right, and Russo up front. Although, obviously the Chloe Kelly experiment's going to be interesting. My addition is I would always have Frida at 10.
Cool. Where are you putting Beth then?
On the bench, mate.
Where are you putting Beth?
Yeah, bench.
Bench?
Yeah.
Okay.
Caitlin's been amazing this year.
Yeah.
Good job, Jess, not on the call, innit?
Chantel, same question for you.
Russo, Caldente on the left, and then I am going to go for Mido, just because I think between her and Russo, Caitlin's been on form this season, but I think Mido's got the better relationship with Russo because they play internationally together as well.
Cool. Darren?
I'm going to go with what James has just put on there, actually. Stina, Russo, and Beth with Mariona just behind them.
Paul?
That's why I'm not a coach.
I'd have Mariona and Russo, and then it would be a toss-up between Caitlin and Beth on there. Probably would depend on the opposition.
Yeah. Mel?
I agree with Paul. It's going to be Mariona, Russo, and then depending on who we're playing, it's either going to be Caitlin or Beth, but I'm going to edge towards Caitlin because she seems to turn up in a lot more games than Beth has this season. And behind them, controversial, but I'm playing Frida Manum.
Yeah. I'm It wasn't a question to be even more of a dickhead than I am. It was to see like the majority, like I don't think many people see Russo and Steiner working. And when you're playing it as a front three like that, Russo and Steiner no way works. I'm sorry.
I find that when Stina's on the wing, she seems to come inside a lot more, which then forces Russo out. And it's not almost like they're doing it to interchange.
Yeah.
It's more that just Stina comes in and Russo has to go out because there's nobody else on the wing.
Yeah, but what I would say, if they change the formation to say you have 4-4-2, then obviously Russo and Stina has more of a chance to work there. And obviously people know I'm not the biggest fan of Stina, but you're kind of selling her short if you're playing her up front with Russo in the front three. Because maybe it's one of those things you see a player play week in, week out, their confidence grows. I don't know. There's aspects to Stina's game that frustrate me, like with the offside stuff. She's done it for years, so why is she not? We don't know. She might be, she might not be, but I just don't know why you don't adapt that play. Then you have to think: is it the players before her? I don't know. But
if Maguire's not offside, then Stina's not offside. Let's face it.
Yeah. But me personally, like we're saying, if everyone was fit, it's an interesting one because it was a toss up between Frida at 10 or Mariona at 10 for me. But then I realised we ain't got no one on the left.
But we are quite short on strikers as well, though, aren't we? We don't really have that many strikers at the club, out and out strikers.
Three.
Who have we got other than Stina and Russo?
We've got Michelle.
Could play Beth
she's
there
not
if you
with us,
wanted
though,
to, couldn't
that's
you?
the problem. It's like the point that Dorian's just made. If Stina and Russo start, what options do we have from the bench?
Yeah,
We
exactly.
don't, do we, really?
Russo's not a 10. She's a 9. She's our best number 9. She starts number 9. And for me, Stina works around her. If we want to play them on the set, Stina has to go. I thought Stina was better on the wing than she's I think she can't have Stina at a 10, but I think Stina on the wing.
I think that is right, Andrew, what you've said, that it has to work round Russo, not the other way round.
Yeah.
Because like we saw Russo was scoring goals for fun. There was a reason we were singing Russo again, LA. That wasn't because she was in really, really good form. So like I think we saw more probably from Stina coming in off the wing than Russo, vice versa, if that makes sense.
Yeah, agreed.
And like just the skill drop, like I think from certain players in our team that when they don't play, like, but that's probably a question for recruitment stuff in the summer and stuff. But I will say in defence, I think Beth Mead played really, really well recently under Renee. It's just a shame, obviously. I don't know if she has any like fitness problems because it doesn't seem like she could be fit enough to play 2 games in a week, which I don't know. Mel, is that a bit of a worry?
Calf injury, wasn't it, for the last 2 games?
Yeah. I don't know. Is that a bit of a worry or? I'm not sure.
I wouldn't be too concerned about it.
Yeah.
I think until it gets to a point where they're missing numerous games on the bounce, and when they do come on, they look like they can't be arsed and that they are running like they're running through wet cement, then yeah, I wouldn't be too overly concerned about it.
The problem is when Ford went off at the weekend, for those that see her at the bench, she was being heavily strapped up. So she might be a doubt for Sunday. No,
I think Chloe starts Sunday.
I think Chloe
you're absolutely right. I think she should as well.
I think Chloe starts all the WSL games.
No Rosa as well. Does anybody?
She was injured.
She's injured, is she?
She was.
Yeah, she wasn't even on the bench, was she?
No. Renee said she was like suffering from I think he said something like a physical or muscular like problem. So
a training ground injury.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think obviously we was having chats about Rosa on the weekend. We'll talk about it here just to end on it. Do you think, Paul? I'll start with you. Do you think it's one of those situations that we had the opportunity to buy her maybe, say, 12 months, 18 months earlier than original, and we thought, and they were just phasing her into the squad and waiting for her to be ready, or do you think there's other stuff behind it?
Yeah, I mean, we have seen it with Arsenal. They do tend to bring in players possibly a year or so ahead of when they're going to be at the top of their game for us. But as long as she sort of gets eased in gently and she actually gets the half a game here, 60 minutes there, sort of quite, not every week necessarily, but quite regularly, I think she'll be ready for us for next season when we're going to go and win all 4 trophies.
He like it.
Yeah, I like
We've
that.
got to have the depth of squad there next season. And if we can bring the players like Rosa in this season, obviously playing against the likes of Brighton, I'd have thought if she'd have been fit, she'd have probably started against London City at the weekend. You know, getting these games in there, then yeah, why not throw her in then for next season? We've got the depth. We'll go for it. We'll have hopefully finished second in the WSL, so we'll get rid of one of those Champions League qualifying games at the beginning. So we'll go straight into the second round and yeah, go for it for next year.
I think Rosa is most definitely good enough for Arsenal. Her ability on the ball and her skills are very, very good. Her confidence, when it's up, she'll take anybody on, and she's always front-footed, driving for that box. She needs more time to develop as a player. Her tactical nous isn't that good sometimes, but then you could say that about any of the youngsters, unfortunately. But she's a star. She's going to be big for Arsenal.
Yeah, just want to say hello to Cloudy. So thanks for watching as well. Sometimes I know it's difficult for you to watch the shows with work and stuff, so thank you. With about Rosa, like she's not getting the minutes now, is she, Mel? But do you think that's just a bit of a project thing, like because just phasing her into it slowly, and then maybe next season she'll be able to feature more and be that game changer that we've brought her in to be?
Yeah, I mean, she is quite young, so it could just be that she's not had a great time with the settling in period that she's had since coming over, and that sort of knocked her confidence. And there could be stuff going on sort of behind the scenes that, again, we don't know about. But I think when she has played and when she has come on, she's proved that she is more than good enough to be at the club, and also in the squad. Okay, she's sitting on the bench 90% of the time, but when she does come on, just the way that she moves with the ball, I think is amazing for somebody of her age. I think sometimes you can sort of see her inexperience sort of showing through, where she sort of twists and turns and tries to take on 3 players rather than playing a simple ball. But that's little things that, of a player of her age, you can sort of train out of them. It's not exactly easy to do when they're in a game. It's easier to do behind closed doors and in training sessions. So I think it's just sort of like that, not immaturity, but the fact that she's still, compared to a lot of the team, so young that she's got a lot of learning to do, and she's learning from, quite simply, some of the best in the English leagues. There's not a lot of people at that age that can say that they have learned alongside, like Mariona, Beth Mead. Like, you've got World Cup winners in there, you've got Euros winners in there, you've got players that have played well over 100 times for their country. So from a player's progression point of view, I think she's in the best place at the minute to progress her game, sort of from where it was in the Swedish leagues to where it is and where it needs to be now, that she's sort of playing in the WSL, she's playing in the Champions League. She's got 2 other cup competitions to be playing in. So yeah, I think sort of ability-wise, she is in the best place to sort of learn from the best and then become the best that she can be.
Do you think also, Mel, before I move on, do you think, like, psychologically, we don't know how she's settling psychologically either, do we? So, where she's so young, she's coming to a completely new country, so it can't be easy.
Yeah, it's a massive... Yes, Andrew, my dog is snoring. It's a massive sort of cultural change. It's not just like a personality, like a personal change. Obviously, we don't know if she's moved over here and had family come over with her. We don't know if she's come over here by herself. We sort of don't know if she's living with players from the squad, if she's living by herself, like that's all little things for somebody who's moved so far away from home and from where they felt safe and secure for so much of their life, with being Swedish and playing in Sweden and growing like relationships and friendships sort of in and around the club that she was at, to then move so far away from that, far away from family, far away from all those relationships that you've made, to then have to start again. It is quite daunting. I know that in my team we've had a player that's moved over from Norway in that sort of first few months, that 6 months that she was here. Her settling in time was really, really difficult because it's also a different language. So like she can speak English, but when you put her in a room with like 20 Scottish girls and we're all speaking at the same time, she hasn't got a fucking clue what we're saying. It's only just been the last couple of months where she can be like, right, I know what you're all saying when you're all speaking to each other at the same time.
Yeah.
So Arsenal's quite diverse in the fact that you've got people from Scotland, you've got England, you've got Ireland, like you've got Spanish, Australian. There's so many different accents and words and phrases in that for her to try and pick up as well and wrap her head around, that for somebody of that age, I think that can be quite overwhelming. So there's lots of little things like that that's probably going on behind the scenes that sort of impacting Rosa and sort of how we don't think she's far enough along to where we thought she would be when she first joined.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I just think I think as fans, we need to remember and say, oh, well, why is she not getting this chance or all that? At the end of the day, Renee's the manager. She's seeing what's going on in training. She might honestly think that Rosa's not actually 100% ready for it and doesn't want to throw her into the deep end and then completely fuck her over, like confidence-wise, if something doesn't go to plan. So I think like we've seen it a bit, Darren, with the men's side, with when a lot of people said about Arteta, why wasn't he playing Ethan Wanyeri a lot earlier than he was? But at the end of the day, it's their job, isn't it, to be paid to make these big decisions. They're obviously seeing when the youngsters are ready to play.
Yeah, man, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't sometimes. Who would want to choose that for a lifestyle, eh? Aside from the wonderful money that they get, it's got to be so stressful, isn't it? But I just thought, since we're talking about players that don't necessarily get that much time for Arsenal, thought we might just quickly throw it over to our Italian correspondent, Paul, for an update on Catherine.
She only got 5 minutes at the weekend, coming off the bench. But she had a start a couple of weeks ago, another hour last week as well. So she looks like she's being slowly brought into the team, probably very similar to Rosa, but she's being brought in for next season.
Yeah.
So,
I wish her the very best of luck.
Yeah, she's picking up the minutes now, and next year into the squad properly, I'd say.
Yeah, she's a wonderful human being, and one of the first podcasts I ever did with you, George, was at West Ham, and I mentioned at the end, does anybody know what's going on with Catherine? Because she was quite her eyes at the end of the game when she was.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So we knew, but always all the way back at that time, that something wasn't quite right, unfortunately, between Arsenal and Catherine Cole. So I'm glad she's got the move, and I'm glad she seems to be relatively happy, getting some reasonable game time, and seems to be settling into her new life. So good luck to her.
Yeah.
What was the question? Oh, sorry, I went off on one there.
That's right. I can't even remember what the question was now.
Moving on then.
Oh, Rosa. Yeah.
Rosa. Well, I think we said about Rosa.
She's so young. Obviously, Renee probably knows a lot more than the rest of us.
Oh, you're talking about Arteta and how he did it with the youngsters there. We got to trust in the managers. Mel made the point, or in fact, maybe it's you, George, I can't remember, but they see him in training day in, day out. Mel's points are also incredibly valid as well, of course. She's a youngster. She's come from a foreign country. She's new to all of this. You got to give those guys time to settle. One thing that is not in doubt is she has got so much talent. The talent is very abundant. It just needs to be nurtured by the coach. And I honestly do believe she's going to be a superstar for Arsenal. She really is. If she isn't, you heard it, then I'll be very sad. Sorry, Mel.
No, you're right. I've also just done some searching on Rosa, and she's only actually played in top flight football for, well, technically 3 years now. Like, she joined Häcken in 2022, and before that she was playing in the league below where Häcken are now playing. And altogether, she's not even played 100 games. Like, she's not had 100 appearances in like senior football. So when you take that in as well,
Yeah.
compared to some of the players in the team, she is still relatively inexperienced. Like, at her first team, she had 46 appearances. At Häcken, she had 39, and at Arsenal, she's had 9. So at Häcken, she had 30 appearances over 2 years.
She's incredibly raw. What age is she, chaps?
21.
21. Yeah, she'll be 22 this year.
Yeah.
So
I mean, she's new to it all. Like, you know what I mean? She's so inexperienced. So people saying, "Oh, she should be playing here, should be playing there." Well, maybe this is why she isn't, because at the end of the day, like, she has played minutes. You know what I mean? I think she started against Brighton. She's come on off the bench a few times. West Ham, I think she came off the bench, didn't she?
Came off the bench and scored.
Yeah, she didn't start that game though, did she? That was off the bench. Yeah, so you know what I mean. Just like, she's only going to be 22 next year, so it's not like what some of our fans are like. Like, when you reach 28, you might as well just go straight to the graveyard. So she's still got quite a few years in her, and like you say, she's learning from Mariona, learning from Beth. So I'm not too worried, really. I don't know what position she'll play going forward. I don't know if she'll play that 10 or on the wing. That's an interesting one. But
she seems to be predominantly on the wing from the games we've had her so far. But I mean, can I just ask you chaps a question? Sorry for taking over, Jules. But Mariona, a thing that concerns me about Mariona is, are we over-reliant on her at the moment? She doesn't seem to be getting a break.
Yeah.
I suppose the thing is, we've had a lot of injuries. You know, she was the only fit. You know, Caitlin's been out for a while. Beth's been out. So, you know, when they're all full firing, I think there's going to be some competition. I mean, she is a terrific player.
She's our best player.
She's not going to you know, it's kind of like it's kind of she's downed with that kind of. The thing is that she's almost undroppable in that sense. But you know, hopefully, you know, if at any other game, she probably wouldn't play. You know, she probably wouldn't. I think
you kind of you become over reliant on your best players, don't you? Like, let's be honest. I think we're over reliant on Emily Fox. So, like I was saying in a podcast before, I don't think we have many world-class players. I think I don't think we can count them on one hand at the minute. So you do have to be kind of heavily reliant on, say, Mariona. Because if you watch Mariona when she plays, she does things that drags the rest of the players to as high as they can for that to get to her level.
I think with Mariona as well, the fact that she's been playing on the left, on the right, and in the number 10 role, at different times, she seems to be sort of very versatile. So it doesn't matter where we've had that injury or where we've needed her to pop up, she's just gone there with, just gone and done the job.
I just worry about burnout more than anything else, I think.
That's probably another reason why we did end up taking Chloe Kelly in, because if you look at it, she can then play out on the left, which then gives us the opportunity to rest Mariona that wee bit more if we've then got Beth and Caitlin fully fit to play on the right-hand side.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point, actually.
I mean, the other game, we also saw Leah Cadena step up from defence into midfield, didn't we? So it's definitely doing a lot more movement, but hopefully once people start coming back, you'd like to see a bit more rotation to give the players like a bit of a rest.
Sadly, Leah Cadena is just full of bench again on Sunday, isn't she? She won't get a start, sadly. They're probably going to put, I know George is probably getting, he's disappeared. George is probably going to ask for lineups for Sunday, but I foresee Leah and Steph back in defence, central midfield, central defence. Then we got, will we start Jenna out left? Doubt it.
I wouldn't.
With Emily on the other side. So We've hurt to norm, I'm afraid, on Sunday, it seems, which is okay. Yeah. That's not a bad thing.
I think possibly on Sunday you could even see Chloe Kelly start at left wing and Mario coming in the middle.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, why not? Let's hope she does. Is Rennie going to be brave enough to start her? bearing in mind, Mel, that she hasn't really played that many minutes for Manchester City of recent.
Yeah, so match fitness probably isn't there. So if she does start, I could see her coming off sort of half time, 60 minutes maybe. But then she has also had that couple of weeks now that she's been training with us, but she's also with Man City. She's still been continuously training with them behind closed doors. Just because she's not playing a match doesn't mean that her fitness isn't up to scratch.
No, that's true. That is a very good point. So let's hope she does start. It'd be wonderful to see her start, wouldn't it?
And if she doesn't start, she will definitely make an appearance, I reckon.
I was going to say, the way you see Renee talk about Chloe, she's definitely seen something in her that she wants for the future. And the way they were the way it all came about with the swap, that it seems to be that Fiend was off the plans, but for what Renee's got planned to make her squad, Kelly is very much an individual that she seems to want to have.
Yeah, I agree. And I hope she does sign beyond the summer loan. None of us were ever going to praise Chloe Kelly while she was in a blue shirt, but now she's in a red shirt. We sing her praises until the cows come home. Now, let's face it, she's an awesome player and a really nice person actually as well. She's quite genuine, isn't she? Welcome back, George.
Yeah,
I love the shithousery.
Someone kept ringing me, so
she is. I mean, that's it. She's up there with Katie for the shithousery, isn't she?
Love it. Yeah.
I can't wait. I honestly can't wait.
Yeah.
Starting on Sunday. Yes, starting on Sunday.
Sunday. I think I actually wouldn't be surprised if you don't see Steph Catley play.
We were just saying we think she'll be back in central.
Yeah, I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. Like if we saw Leah and Lotta, I wouldn't be massively surprised. I think they will go Catley and
I think
Leah,
so.
but I won't. It's just for me, I just don't think Steph Catley can ever play at left back again. I think those days are numbered.
No. She seemed lost when she has played there for the last 2 of the last 3 games when she started. She seemed a bit lost to me.
But we won't talk about the Spurs game as much because we have got a show on Friday with a couple of special guests. We've got Natalie on, so that'll be good. And we potentially have got Daisy on, who's not been on for a long time. So that is, for those who know, that Daisy does the Gooner stuff with Freddie, so that'll be nice. So yeah, I'm gonna say we'll wrap it up there. Thank you to my guests. So thank you, Darren.
Thank you, and just a special mention to Stina for her 50th goal for the mighty Arsenal.
Yeah, moving on. Yeah. No.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I tell you, you're worse than Mel's dog with a bone. I tell you.
Not even a bone, a box of shortbread.
That's going to be the new saying. Like, it's not a dog with a bone, it's a dog with a shortbread. Andrew, thank you. Looking forward to seeing you Sunday, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Georgie. My hands are throbbing already at the thought of your boots trampling them as I rescue your phone after that Chloe Kelly 3-minute hat trick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Just to say if it's not like a really close game and it's like a 95th minute winner or something, because I think I'll die. Chantel, thank you as well. Are you there on Sunday?
I am there on Sunday, and I'll be bringing one of my star little players from my team coming with me.
Excellent.
A little shout out to the Hive and Dibdim Jaguars as well. Well done.
Yeah, definitely. Well done, guys. Paul, I'll see you Sunday, nice and early. Breakfast. It's got to be done.
I'll be in the Swan for 8 o'clock for breakfast. Bringing 2 friends as well that have never been to an Arsenal game before. So.
What's
Look at this. Paul's even got friends now. Look what the podcast has done for you, Paul. That's good. Yeah.
Paul, just after you for your status.
Is Esme coming?
Yep. She's bringing a friend. I'm bringing a friend. So, should be a good day.
Excellent.
What a game to bring people for their first Arsenal game, though. Great
Of course,
Yeah, fair.
You have told them that we're at the women's game. We don't have any swearing. We don't have any your shit.
Classless.
Because we're classless, and we can't say who to anyone, even if it is dear old Viviana Miedemar. People think we're booing. There's my kind of rant.
If we were booing, it would have fucking at the start of it. It wouldn't just be boo, it would be fucking boo.
Yeah. So yeah, Mel, thank you as always. Brilliant as well, and
No
well done
problem
for the
at
weekend
all.
as well.
Thank you very much. We're not so patiently waiting for our semi-final draw, and then we've got the top of the league clash this Sunday. Us and our Highland rivals in Ross County playing it out as the two teams in the league that have not lost a game yet. So,
What time's
Only a
kickoff?
3 o'clock. I don't know. See, when I'm not playing, I don't even know when I'm supposed to
I
be
did.
there.
I didn't want to clarify this, but you are the captain, so you should probably know, aren't you?
Yeah, I know what time I have to be there. I have to be there at like 1. But if you ask me what time kickoff is, not a clue. I think it's 3. I could be wrong.
Well, it's fine. We'll edit that bit out. Basically, Mel said that it starts at 3. So yeah, thank you though.
No problem.
So thank you to the comments. So from Dorian, Scott, Cloudy, James. A lot of James is here. Start singing, sit down in a minute. So yeah, thank you. We'll be back on Friday, where we'll look forward to playing that small bus stop from Enfield. So yeah, have a good, lovely Monday, and come on, you Gunners, and all take care. Good night.